So Donald Trump and JD Vance, they have, it seems like, an issue on answering questions that people want to know, and specifically in this case about childcare, on how, if you are elected, what are you going to do for the American people on childcare? How are you going to get the cost down? What is it exactly that you're going to do? Well, JD Vance was on with Charlie Kirk the other day. He was being interviewed, it looks like in some sort of conference. And he asked him about, what are you going to do about childcare? And JD Vance gave this very bizarre answer.
Lowering the cost of daycare. Hayden, obviously a working family, and it's very hard for working families to get by. How will we lower the cost of daycare?
Now, keep in mind, before he answers, these are the people who are so intent on everybody having children. When you have the children, it's all on you now. We don't give a shit what happens, but we need you to have as many children, especially white people. Please have as many children as you possibly can. But it is amazing to me why they always struggle with the answers on the children who are actually alive. They've got plenty of answers on the ones who are in the womb, but the ones who are, and I didn't mean to misstate it, the ones who are in the womb versus the ones who are outside the womb, that's the one that they seem to have a problem with. But here's his answer.
It's such an important question, Charlie. And I think one of the things that we can do is make it easier for family models to choose, or for families to choose whatever model they want, right? So one of the ways that you might be able to relieve a little bit of pressure on people who are paying so much for daycare is make it so that maybe like grandma or grandpa wants to help out a little bit more, or maybe there's an aunt or uncle that wants to help out a little bit more. If that happens,
Well, that's the maybe that's the childish cat lady that you have in your family, the aunt or the grandmother. And if they babysit your child, it will inspire them to have these children that we need you to have.
Leave some of the pressure on all the resources that we're spending in daycare. Now, you talk about just daycare. Let's say you don't have somebody who can provide that extra set of hands.
All right,
what we've got to do is actually empower people to get trained in the skills that they need for the 21st century. We've got a lot of people who love kids, who would love to take care of kids, but they can't, either because they don't have access to the education that they need, or maybe more importantly, because the state government says you're not allowed to take care of children unless you have some ridiculous certification that has nothing to do with taking care of kids. So empower people to get the skills they need. Don't force every early child care specialist to go and get a 6-year college degree where they've got a whole lot of debt and Americans are much poorer because they're paying out the wazoo for daycare. Empower working families, empower people who want to do these things for a living, and that's what we got to do.
Now, I got to admit, I don't know a whole bunch about daycare and all that stuff. I don't have kids, but do you need a 6-year degree to watch children? First of all, I'm going to guess that is absolutely 100% not true. But he's also basically saying, we don't need certifications for people to watch children. Just let anybody watch them. That's what I'm getting out of that, is just let any nut watch your kid without any certification, without any background, what a ridiculous answer. First of all, it's like, go get your grandma or grandpa, or go get your aunt or uncle or somebody to watch your kids to help mitigate your costs for childcare. Now, first of all, it's insulting because my guess is parents probably have already thought about that. It's probably, you don't need JD Vance to suggest to you to ask grandma or grandpa if they happen to be available, if they could take over a day or two for a shift on watching your kids. So that's number one. Number two, I'm also guessing that's probably about 10% of people have that luxury to be able to do it. So your first answer is outrageously ridiculous. I didn't know it could get even more ridiculous, but it did. He goes on to say that basically, just let anybody watch your kid. Why do we got to get these certified people to watch your kid? Why do we have to make them go get a 6-year degree? Which, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm guessing, I'm going to go out on a limb and say there's a 0% chance that every single person that is authorized to watch children in daycare do not have 6-year college degrees. I will 100% guarantee that. Prove me wrong if I am wrong. Because what bothers me is in interviews like that, you're going to have a Charlie Kirk that will just lay back and let him say whatever he wants. But this is what bothers me more than anything. And I will say this about any politician. If you say garbage like that, and this is, you're running for president and vice president of the United States of America, and your answer is, we need people that can watch your kids that don't have 6 year degrees, how the person that's interviewing them doesn't say, what are you talking about? Where is it that you need a 6-year degree in order to watch your children and to help daycare costs? That's his answer, to help your daycare costs. But if you thought that was bad, they asked his boss, Donald Trump, at the Economic Club of New York he was at today. So Donald Trump is on stage today with a bunch of people who are clearly smarter than he is, probably just as scummy as he is. But maybe some of them are nice. I'm just surmising there. I may be wrong, and I'm willing to admit that part. But I will say that I feel very confident that they are all smarter than him. But this answer on this clip is so mind-bending. Just let's play it and then we'll talk about it.
When in November, can you commit to prioritizing legislation to make childcare affordable? And if so, what specific piece of legislation will you advance?
Well, I would do that, and we're sitting down. I was we had Senator Marco Rubio, and my daughter Ivanka was so impactful on that issue. It's a very important issue. But I think when you talk about the kind of numbers that I'm talking about, that because look, childcare is childcare. There's something, you have to have it. In this country, you have to have it. But when you talk about those numbers compared to the kind of numbers that I'm talking about by taxing foreign nations at level.
I'm just telling you, he is, let me see, this was almost 45 seconds into the clip, and he is searching for some kind of answer. How can I answer this question? And he's about to go into his ridiculous tax savings by his large tariffs on other countries.
That they're not used to, but they'll get used to it very quickly. And it's not going to stop them from doing business with us, but they'll have a very substantial tax when they send product into our country. Those numbers are so much bigger than any numbers that we're talking about.
By the way, the substantial tax is going to be on the American people. Even if he cuts taxes, the amount of taxes it's going to cost the American people. In fact, the latest report is that he wants to raise the amount that he wants to charge in tariffs on other countries. So there is no tax cut that would supersede the amount of taxes the American people would be hurt by. But this is really his only answer because he doesn't know how to answer this question. Well,
including childcare, that it's going to take care. We're going to have, I look forward to having no deficits within a fairly short period of time.
He said that in his first term.
With the reductions that I told you about on waste and fraud and all of the other things that are going on in our country.
By the way, he said that in his first term, and he did nothing but explode the debt.
Because I have to stay with childcare. I want to stay with childcare, but those numbers are small relative to the kind of economic numbers that I'm talking about, including growth, but growth also headed up by what the plan is that I just told you about. We're going to be taking in trillions of dollars, and as much as child care is talked about as being expensive, it's relatively speaking not very expensive compared to the kind of numbers we'll be taking in. We're going to make this into an incredible country that can afford to take care of its people, and then we'll worry about the rest of the world. Let's help other people. But we're going to take care of our country first. This is about America first. It's about make America great again. We have to do it because right now we're a failing nation. So we'll take care of it. Thank you.
And there's the ridiculous applause from the people, the sycophants in the audience, who are going to applaud it no matter what he says. In fact, that reminded me, I swear, as I'm watching this, I'm like, where did I see this before? I've seen something. So I said, I know exactly what it is, and this is exactly what I thought of.
Mr. Madison, the Industrial Revolution changed the face of the modern novel forever. Discuss, citing specific examples.
Come on. Okay. The Industrial Revolution to me is just like a story I know called The Puppy Who Lost His Way. The world was changing, and the puppy was getting bigger.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally what I thought of. I thought of him answering the question. This is a great movie, Billy Madison, one of my favorite movies of all time. It's so stupid, but it is so great. I love every word of that movie. But, I don't want to show the whole clip. I'll probably get copyrighted, which sucks. But at the end of the clip, he says such a ridiculous answer. And at the end of it, he can kind of feel him losing the audience. So he goes to a high school called Nib High. So at the very end of it, he just screams out, "Nib High football rules," and gets the crowd cheering. And that's exactly what reminded me of when he, at the end, Donald Trump says, we're going to make America great again. It's just the same old crazy bullshit. And I promise you, I can't wait until Tuesday night. I cannot wait until a professional prosecutor, the younger, smarter, way more intelligent Kamala Harris, gets a hold of this clown. And I have a feeling that, so from what my understanding is that they've come up with the rules of the debate, and they have agreed that they will close the mics. And something tells me Kamala Harris is going to goad him into basically being a wuss for closing the mics. And he might even do what Jack Nicholson did at the end of A Few Good Men, is just basically admit, "You're goddamn right, I did. I ordered the code red." He might say, cut them or let the mics on right in the middle of it and change the whole thing right there. I mean, I can really see that happening because he's such a fragile ego. And again, this is why it's really scary for him to be the president of the United States, because you know who knows more than anybody that he's got a fragile ego, and it's really easy to manipulate him with compliments, is the guy over in Russia, Vladimir Putin, who just manipulated these idiot podcasters that we have here in this country. And, I'll be interested to see just how much he manipulated them. We'll see whether or not that they knew about it as this plays out. Again, that'll be interesting. But anyway, debate Tuesday night, cannot wait.